Today we're going to talk about older toy lines brought back to life in different ways. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome back. As some of you may know, I had a large collection of vintage toys that I completely sold off in the early 2000s. Since I restarted collecting in 2019, my focus has been to create a collection with modern toys that reminds me of the vintage collection I once had. Sometimes that takes the form of reproductions or remakes that are very close to the vintage toys they represent. In other cases, it's vintage toy characters being done in a more modern style, with updated engineering and articulation. And other times, that could mean toys that are very different in size or style than the originals that they're paying tribute to. In this video, I'll be taking a look at 5 such toys from my collection. Modern updates on toys that were originally released in the 1960s, 70s, and 80s. The Great Garloo was a giant monster toy created by Marx in the early 1960s. The original Garloo was a remote control beast that could walk backward and forward, bend over, and pick up objects. And it was one of the first giant monster toys to be released in the US.
Now, for every kid who has ever seen a science fiction movie, thrilled to the amazing strength of an out-of-this-world movie monster, comes Great Garloo by Marx. Garloo the Mighty. Garloo the Untamed. Garloo the Terrible. Who can stop him? Who can control this monstrous creature? You can, kids, because Great Garloo by Marx is yours to command. With these battery-operated controls, you can make Garloo go, stop, bend, pick up, turn. Yes, Great Garloo, almost 2 feet tall, will be your faithful servant. You name it, you're the boss. Bring out-of-this-world excitement into your house, kids. Own the most fantastic toy of all. Great Garloo by Marx.
M-A-R-X spells Marx, world's largest toy maker.
The Great Garloo has been revived by the Nacelle Company, who have made him one of the cornerstones of their new Nacellverse, a shared universe of older toy properties that Nacelle has purchased to create new toys, comic books, and they also plan on expanding to animation. This new Garloo toy made by the Nacelle Company is quite diminutive compared to his giant 1960s original. He is a solid PVC figure standing about 3 inches tall, but he has all the design elements of the original toy, including the chain around his wrist, his Tarzan-like spotted loincloth, and the sandals on his feet, as well as the medallion around his neck, which identifies him as Garloo. And he's got that handsome face that only a monster toy enthusiast could love. Sticking with the Nacelle Company and their Nacellverse, here is Max 89 from Robo Force. The original Robo Force figures were released by Ideal Toys back in 1984. Robo Force were a series of simple plastic robot figures that had grasping arms, a variety of accessories, and suction cups at the bottom of their bodies. The line also included vehicles and a playset.
Max Steel's Robo Force!
Presenting Ideal's Robo Force, Max Steel the leader and the brave Robo Force warrior robots with crusher arms and gripper bases, each with their own special power. Together they battle the forces of evil, hunt Red the Conqueror and his fierce warriors. Journey with them to a whole new dimension.
If you dare!
We've got to find the message crystal before 100 gets to it. surrounded by hundreds of warriors. Max Steel and Sentinel Protector have other plans. Can't hide now, Mudred. Take that, Laser Breath. Max has us covered, and let's get out of here. This'll take care of him. Great shot, Sentinel. Crystal is ours. Wow, that almost seemed real.
I'll be back. Max Steel's Robo Force.
Robo Force, new from Ideal.
Like many action figure lines of the 1980s, the Robo Force characters were divided into both good and evil factions. The original Robo Force line didn't last long, as they were competing in a market of other robot toys, most of which had the ability to transform or combine. If given the choice between a robot that could turn into a truck, a tank, or a dinosaur, or a robot with a big suction cup for feet, a kid would probably pick the truck, dinosaur, or tank. Max 89 was originally known as Max Steel in the original Ideal toy line, but his name had to be changed for copyright purposes. These new Nacelle Robo Force toys are larger, more articulated, and much heavier than the original Ideal toys. Max comes with a full range of articulation, although it is limited in places due to the sculpt. He's made of very heavy PVC material. The sticker on his chest resembles the same designs from the original 1980s toy. He's got a few different plug-in accessories, including this large cannon on his shoulder. He has a big gun weapon, and he comes with an extra hand, so you can give him two regular hands, or as I prefer, this hand with the bladed weapon attached. As an homage to the original Robo Force line, this new version still comes with rubber suction cups on the feet, which is a nice idea, but with a figure this heavy, it does cause some stability issues depending on how you pose him. At the time of this recording, only two new Robo Force figures have been released by Nacelle, Max 89 and Wrecker. Although Nacelle did reveal that they are working on 4 brand new toy characters, as well as an animated Robo Force series. In 1983, Tonka began releasing the GoBots, a series of transforming robot figures, most of which were adapted from a Japanese line called Machine Robo, made by Bandai.
They appear to be mighty robots, but you change them into mighty vehicles. GoBots and Super GoBots, each sold separately.
GoBots, 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 mighty robots, mighty vehicles, GoBots.
GoBots and Super GoBots, Destroyer, Sight Kill, and Leader 1, each sold separately.
Despite beating the Transformers to market by almost a year, the GoBots failed to reach the level of popularity that the Transformers did. Eventually, Transformer owners Hasbro purchased Tonka, and they currently hold the rights to the GoBots IP, which they haven't done much with, outside of a few homages within the Transformers line. But in Japan, a company called Action Toys released about a dozen different figures that were updates of the original Machine Robo toys, including modern versions of Eagle Robo, aka Leader 1, and Bike Robo, aka Psykill. The figure I have here is Battle Robo. In the GoBots line, Battle Robo was one of the most least interesting transformations. He basically bent over, and he was given one of the least interesting names of all the GoBots, being simply called Tank. A bit on the nose there, if you ask me. This modern version of Battle Robo is fully articulated, unlike the original Machine Robo GoBots figure. His articulation is on par with modern generation-style Transformers. He is a combination of both die-cast and plastic. His tank turret is removable to become a gun, and he has 2 smaller guns attached to his backpack that can flip over his shoulders or back down. His transformation is more complicated and more interesting than the original 80s toy, but he still transforms into a compact battle tank. And while his guns do not have the shiny vac metal of the originals, he does have a nice translucent red windscreen on the cockpit. As far as updates of the old GoBots go, this is a nice little toy. We're going to go back in time a little bit now to the late 1970s and a series of figures called Starroid Raiders, made by Tomland. The Starroid Raiders were one of many different toy lines created in the late 1970s to cash in on the Star Wars craze. The Starroid Raiders were simple 5 POA cheap plastic figures, all of which shared the same basic body type with different coloring, stickers, and heads to differentiate them. The original figures were around 3 3/4 inches tall, and I had a bunch of them, to include as aliens with my Star Wars toys. This modern take on a Starroid Raiders figure is Commander Mach, a vinyl figure created by independent maker Skullmark Toys, and he stands at around 10.5 inches tall. Skullmark Toys has released this figure as part of their Galaxy Commanders series, and they've done about a dozen different characters, all paying tribute to the original 1970s toys made by Tomland. This Galaxy Commander is a nice, solid vinyl figure, or as they're called by collectors, Sofubi. He is actually a 7 POA. Besides the head, shoulders, and hips, he also has swivel wrists. And the weapon he has is just the same as the original 1970s toys came with. A lot of knockoff space toys back then came with knockoff lightsabers. Although with Galaxy Commanders, they do not come with weapons. You do have to purchase the saber accessory separately. And yes, that sticker on the front of him does appear to be his internal organs. The original Starroid Raiders figures had similar stickers on them. Very, very strange, but in keeping with the original toys. The last update I'll talk about is this Dino Riders Rulon Warriors Battle Pack. This is based on the original Dino Riders toy line, one of the more memorable toy lines from the 1980s. First released in 1988 by Tyco, the Dino Riders featured prehistoric creatures outfitted with high-tech weaponry, provided by 2 warring factions of humans and aliens from the future.
Harness the power, Dino Riders! The evil Rulon shackled the Deinonychus.
Remakes on attack!
They're sitting ducks!
Heroic quest star on Diplodocus opens the secret pod.
They're firing on me!
Look out for the trap!
Take this, Airhead!
The hidden rockets blast the evil Rulon.
We'll meet again, Quest Star!
Diplodocus with motorized walking action, Deinonychus and Pteranodon, with figures and battle gear, each sold separately. Dino Riders.
Some of the original Dino Riders dinosaur molds were then reused by Tyco in both the Smithsonian Institution Toy Dinosaur series and the Cadillacs and Dinosaurs line. This Dino Riders set was released in 2020 by Mattel. So if you're wondering who currently owns the Dino Riders IP, it's Mattel. This box set contains representations of 6 of the original dinosaur toys and a variety of figures based on the original toy line, but they are all done as monochromatic PVC miniatures. Here's what we get inside the pack, and this is a pretty cool little set of miniatures, very highly detailed. We get several freestanding figures along with a bunch of riders for both the Rulons and the good faction, the Valorians. The figures stand at 1 inch tall. On the box, it name checks 11 characters from the original Dino Riders line. Although there are 15 figures in the set, I guess the rest are just generic army builder guys. And strangely, it only names 5 out of the 6 dinosaurs. Not sure why they put plus more instead of just putting Brontosaurus, but there you have it. And as I said, these are really nicely detailed little army men type toys. The Brontosaurus holds 3 rider figures. There's 2 on the T-Rex, and these figures are removable. The Saurolophus, according to the box, I always knew this creature as a Parasaurolophus. The Deinonychus, who I think is a bit oversized. The Triceratops, and the Pteranodon. who is ridden like a hang glider. I only had a couple of the original Dino Riders toys. If you like Dino Riders and you don't have a lot of room or not a lot of extra cash to get the originals, because it is a bit pricey to get some of those original toys, this isn't a bad alternative, and you can still buy this set for under $20 at a lot of stores. That's it for my look at these new versions of classic toys. Do you have any of these toys, or do you have any of the originals that they're based on? Let me know in the comments. And if you have an interest in other modern updates to older toys, check out the Old Made New playlist on my channel, where I cover several other toys in different videos. As always, thank you for watching, thank you for your time and attention, and I will see you in the next video.